Roll call, please.
Commissioner Langang, Commissioner Huber,
Here.
Commissioner Mutter,
Here.
Commissioner Horn, Mayor Freilich,
Here.
Commissioner Infeld,
Here.
Commissioner McLean,
Here.
Commissioner Smith,
Here.
Commissioner Hammond,
Here.
Commissioner Gardner,
Here.
Commissioner Renner,
Here.
Chair Robinson.
Here. Next item is to consider the approval of the minutes from our July 28th meeting. Do we have any changes?
Can move to approve.
I'll second.
Motion by Commissioner McLean, second by Commissioner Infeld to approve the minutes of July 28th. Questions? With none, roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Huber,
Yes.
Commissioner Mutter,
Yes.
Mayor Freilich,
Yes.
Commissioner Infeld,
Yes.
Commissioner McLean,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Hammond,
Yes.
Commissioner Gardner,
Yes.
Commissioner Renner,
Yes.
Chair Robinson.
Yes. Minutes are approved. We'll move on to the first of our public hearings. First is consider a preliminary plat for Evergreen Heights 5th Edition. Rachel?
Hey, good evening, commissioners. Can you hear me? Okay, perfect. Okay, so this is a preliminary plat for Evergreen Heights 5th Edition. This was tabled at the July meeting, so your memo was fairly similar, but I'm going to go over most of it again because we do have an updated plat. And there were some changes made. We've also got a lot of applicant information in here that we didn't have last time, and I know they're in the room tonight. So I'll do my best to explain it, and then they'll probably have some comments. So this proposed preliminary plat is located north of 19th Street East. Let's zoom in here. And east of 14th Avenue Southeast. It's a replat of the existing lots 2 through 6 of Evergreen Heights 2nd Edition and of Lot 1, Block 1, Evergreen Heights 4th Edition in the southwest quarter of Section 35, Township 139 North, Range 81 West, City of Mandan. So in general, the existing lot owners are replatting and purchasing the lots essentially directly behind existing homes, as well as vacating most of the right-of-way through the subdivision to the east. All of the lots are zoned R7. You can see on the future land use plan that it was contemplated that those lots could be in the future land use plan as commercial, but they are all currently zoned as R7. The zoning map does not reflect that, but they are R7. We did double check it. So the total area of the plat is 4.43 acres. The new proposed lots range from 45,126 square feet to 24,070 square feet. The majority of the right-of-way for Living Water Drive, which is the east-west road, north-south road on the east side of the subdivision, and 16th Street Southeast, which is on the north side of the subdivision, are being assimilated into the newly reconfigured lots. Those two streets were intended to provide access to Lot 1, Block 1 of Evergreen Heights 4th Edition, which was intended to be developed as residential properties. So access to existing lots is not changing, as they will maintain access from 14th Avenue Southeast. The properties to the east will maintain their access as existing because neither takes access from Living Water Drive. And the proposed Lot 6, which is on the bottom here on the south side, will take access from 19th Street Southeast. Access currently between the existing Lot 1, Block 1 and Lot 1, Block 2 Evergreen Heights. Okay, I'm going to take a second here and show you guys on this plat where these are. So this area right here where my cursor is the current Lot 1, Block 1 of Evergreen Heights. This is Lot 1, Block 2 of Evergreen Heights 4th, and this is Living Water, Lot 1, Block 1 of Living Water Edition. So that access is provided via 16th and Living Water Drive. So the proposed plat shows platting that right-of-way partially into this proposed replat. You can see this here. So one of the reasons we had asked for this to be tabled in the July meeting was that we were uncertain about whether or not this was a valid way to vacate a right-of-way. The Century Code allows for, essentially, you can vacate right-of-way via a plat, or you can vacate via the vacation process, and half of the right-of-way goes to either side, right? So whichever property owners. It wasn't entirely clear in this case because all of that right-of-way is being added into the new lots, whether this was a valid way to do it. So we've looked at it. Both Lot 1, this lot, Lot 1, Block 1, and Lot 1, Block 2 are owned by the same owner at the moment. So it is allowable for this area. Okay. However, we do still have concerns. Sorry, I'm clicking the wrong buttons here. We do still have concerns in this area because we have concern that it does not appropriately vacate Living Water Drive on the south 55.63 feet of proposed Lot 3, so right here. Lot 4, 5, and 6, because part of Living Water Drive remains. And so then if you were to go back and vacate it in the standard process, this 33 feet, 16 and a half would go to lots 3, 4, 5, and 6, and 16 and a half feet would go to Living Water Addition, Lot 1, Block 1. So we have offered a few solutions to this, including adding Lot 1, Block 1, Living Water Addition to the plat. But at the moment, that is unresolved. So there is moving on then to utilities and easements, there's a water line along 16th Street Southeast from 14th to 1806 that's shown up here. There is an easement shown there, and there is an associated fire hydrant just inside the right-of-way that is proposed to be vacated. Again, there's no zone change request. The city has raised concerns about whether or not this proposal is the highest and best use of these properties, given the general need for housing in the community. The applicants and representatives have provided development costs to build out Living Water Drive and have provided information on possible sales in the past, and have noted that the owners of the existing homes have expressed pretty strong opposition to development behind their properties. So we did do letters to the adjacent property owners as noted and required. The staff comments and updates needed are that we do need to still see like the previous lot configuration and old lot and block numbers on the plat. That's just a minor plat comment. And then our staff items of concern are that leaving half of Living Water Drive as a public right-of-way is neither good planning or engineering practice, and it does leave some question of legality of vacating part of the right-of-way by platting while leaving a remainder to be vacated by some other format. Vacating existing city right-of-way between developable properties is not typically considered to be desirable, and removing developable platted property from development potential is, again, not typically considered to be desirable. The findings of fact for the preliminary plat, the plat does meet all technical plat requirements. And the city staff recommendation is that the Planning and Zoning Commission review the materials provided by the applicant and staff by future land use plans, zoning ordinances, and then modifying or accepting the staff's findings of fact as necessary to support the motion of the board. And I can answer any questions that you might have.
Questions for Rachel?
Rachel, sorry, Mr. Commissioner. Rachel, do you have, or Mr. Chair, sorry. Do you guys want more time to try to figure it out? I don't know, like, I get what you're saying. I also don't like to either say yes or no without you guys getting on board, and you're giving me a very political answer of us reviewing. So what is your thoughts there?
Chair, Commissioners, I think our thoughts there are that the applicant has asked us to move this forward as they are under some timelines with purchases. And so they do have a number of comments. I know that they are anxious to share with you. I think there's a lot in your packets that speaks to their thoughts on the matter. We do, like I noted, have concern on on Living Water Drive and that specific area. I think one option could be reaching out to the city attorney at this point, like if it is approved, that we would just make sure that we're meeting all legalities between preliminary and final plat. To just double check that portion of the vacation, because as noted, it does make city staff a little uncomfortable there. In like lots 1 and 2, totally normal way to vacate a street. So, did that answer your question? Okay.
Rachel's got a question. So, if two things that are just my concern is one, so would those lots they would be essentially be landlocked? Is that true or not?
Chair and commissioners, no, they would not be landlocked. They all would have access from 14th Avenue Southeast. So those lots are, I don't know if we can get the plat back up on the screen, but those are full lots. So lot 1 is a large, like backwards L shape with a very like wide north-south piece. Lot 2 is a very deep lot. Lot 3 is a very deep lot. Lot 4 is a very deep lot. So there's easements running down the center of them for utility easements, but they are all none of these lots become landlocked. They all have access.
So lot 2, 3, and 4 is Living Water still potentially? I mean, you could drive a vehicle through from 14th. Is that what you're saying?
Is there a way to pull up the plat on the screen? Thank you. Okay, so if we're looking at this, so 14th here for 2 goes all the way back.
Oh, okay. I guess I was thinking of 19th. But so the only access to those lots is through the front yard of those homes.
Well, so they'll all be one lot. So it's just, it's all long.
Gotcha.
Long lots.
So they're not separate parcels.
Yeah, this is one large parcel. This is one large parcel. I think on here the easement lines might be. I can zoom in a little further. There we go. The easement lines are dashed in here, and so I think they look a little bit more like lot lines than they should. And then, like lot 6 takes access from 19th.
Okay, that clears that up. Okay, so then the other question I have is in terms of, I know sometimes there's a concern about taxes and specials. That I know one of the things I've heard in the past is I've had this staff tell me, I mean, I get 2 acres in the city, and there's always a complaint about, well, you're taking more utilities to get to your, around your land. Well, I just got hit with 20,000 in specials. I'm like, well, I'm paying my fee for being a pig in the city, right? So, I mean, so I'm just being, I guess, this is going to take, I mean, all the utilities are in, but if there's more in the future, say, taxes and specials that are assessed to those properties, then I guess it would be commensurate to the size of, if they have bigger lots, then there'll be more taxes and more specials. Will they have their fair share of the tax, I guess, in the future? Is that not a question for you, or?
Chair and Commissioners, I don't know that that's quite a question for me. I think it would depend on how the specials were decided at the time of a project.
I'm just thinking of it, just addressing somebody's concern that you're making bigger city lots, so now, that the rest of the city has to pull that extra burden because they have bigger lots and you could have put more people in that space. But so if somebody has that's a concern I have, I guess, in general.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question. Just for clarification on the south part on Living Water Drive, is the plat boundary extended half into that?
Chair and Commissioners, yes. So what's remaining of Living Water Drive shown on the plat is 33 feet wide. So 33 feet of it, which is what would be the vacated portion. If you were to vacate it via the traditional process, would be going into these lots.
So we're really looking at a technicality, legal technicality here, basically.
Yeah.
Because the other 33 feet is going to go to living water addition there.
Yes. So, Chair and Commissioners, one of the solutions that we have talked with the applicant about is removing Living Water Drive, at least south of this point, from the plat, because then it could go through the traditional vacation process and be split evenly. Right now, if it's vacated this way, that south portion doesn't end up going to Living Water Drive. If they went back and went through the vacation
Go
process,
half-half, yeah.
it would go half and half.
Any other questions?
Mr. Chairman, I guess one other question. What would be the ordinance with regard to if any of these property owners wanted to add a, patio home or a second structure on the lot with regard to these large lots?
Chair and Commissioner, I would have to get back to you on that. I do not have the R7 ordinance memorized yet. I'll get there. Apologize.
Chair Robinson, Rachel, would it be, is there a reason that the Living Water Drive there isn't being considered part of this? I mean, if you're saying it's easier to vacate the whole thing, have we reached out to Living Water to see if we can vacate the whole thing at one time?
Chair and Commissioner, we have offered that as also an option to the applicant, but it would have to then include the Lot 1, Block 1 Living Water Addition would have to be included in the plat. So we have mentioned that as an option for them.
And Living Water is not interested? Or?
I'm not sure.
Any other questions?
One more, Mr. Chairman, and maybe this is more for the applicant, but just wanted to understand if we're just talking about expiration of purchase agreements, if those could be extended, but maybe that's more of a question for the applicant than Rachel. I see head nodding. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
At this time, I'll open up for public comments or questions. Comments? We're discussing item number 1.
Hello, you might have remember me from last month. My name is Ben Capel, so I am an owner there, and I'm also the real estate agent representing all of the purchasers for this deal. We started this way back in February, so it's been a long process. First, just a quick note, especially on the contract side of things. Purchase agreements are very complicated in this process. So we used our mulligan. Our mulligan was last month because we didn't get the plat in time. So today it really needs to be either a yes or a no. So a yes, we're contractually obligated to extend. If it's a no, fine, contracts are void, earnest money goes back to the purchaser. And we're talking about a very substantial amount of earnest money. But like a maybe and another delay will put us in a breach of contract, which is just a contractual nightmare where basically both parties could sue for damages. So people are putting their lives on hold for this, actually. So say one person in the middle decides to back out because they are moving on with their life, and now is Val going to continue to sell with one person in the middle not wanting to do this? So it can get very tricky if we just do another delay. So my hope is that you vote yes today, obviously. If it's not a yes, honestly, no is better than a cancel or a delay at this point. Then we don't run into going into small claims court fighting over earnest money. With that, I'll continue on a little bit. We did talk about highest and best use of the land. I did take some drone shots just so you can see what we're talking about, because the land, we have a giant hill in the middle and 2 big drainage valleys on the outside. On the north end, right behind, we got some shop condos. That's actually, I'm on the north end there. They're right behind my house. They started building like a month after I moved in. I think they're too close for me personally. I can't imagine a purchaser wanting to spend a ton of money on a lot that is going to have shop condos in their front yard. If you go to one of those pictures, I put what their front yard view would be. And then their backyard view, it's a big hill, so you're going to have houses right on top of you. So it might be a 1/4 acre lot that could be highest and best to be built on, but I can't imagine anybody wanting to pay the kind of money it's going to take to develop that for a lot that's going to really feel small. So I encourage you to look at the photos there. The numbers for development of this for 8 lots was put in the packet, so you can look at that. You know, we're close to $1 million. Every developer I know wants to double their money on a project anyways, so we're talking $200,000-$300,000 for a lot that I don't think has the appeal to bring that kind of money in. So my push is highest and best use is definitely just to let us absorb that back lot, merge it into our properties. And that also brings a really nice buffer zone between residential and commercial. Because you have commercial behind us, this just is a nice buffer zone between, to make it a little bit of a wider angle. And like I mentioned, yeah, those shop condos do feel close. I believe Val actually has the ability to build a second one even closer to these lots. So the one picture that shows them, I think you can go one more farther. I'm not sure. I think that was just mentioned. I had no idea that was even an option. So that would deter somebody even further from purchasing and wanting to build a home there. And then a couple quick notes. There is an access easement back through the back. So you can, I mean, it's just a big field is all we're talking about. You can drive back there pretty much anyway. All their neighbors know each other. So you want to go back and work on your garden, just drive back there. But there is an access easement built into the plat for that. So we're covered there. Use, you know, it was R7 before this, it's R7 after this, so nothing's changing there. The rules still apply. It got brought up in the meeting a couple weeks ago, especially for my lot, because I'm going to have the biggest lot, that the 40% rule, so I could build a gigantic shop back there if I wanted to. Well, you could build a big house back there too, I guess. But nobody has any plans to build any garages. Honestly, I can't afford it after this purchase. All we want to do is plant a ton of trees because nobody wants to look at these shop condos right behind our houses. So our plan is, my plan and my neighbor's plan, I definitely know, is just to plant more trees back there. So nothing is changing from what it was zoned before to what it was after. I also don't want to restrict anybody's right to their property. You know, it's your property, you own it, you could be able to do it whatever you wish to it. But the rules that were before this still apply after this. That's not changing. It got brought up to the size of the lots for the area. There are several, like if you just go straight south of us, still on 14th Street, there's 2 acre lots, there's 1.5 acre lots, there's plenty of them down there. We're on the edge of town there, so this type of thing isn't, I want to say, uncommon for the area. And a quick note on the specials. I'm not an expert on specials, but you know, they cover sidewalk and gutters and things like that. We're not making the front of our houses any wider, so we'd still be responsible for whatever is assessed on our frontage road. If we do take care of this, if this moves forward, basically there'll be nothing else going behind our houses, so there would be no future projects. If somebody wanted to, you know, trench an electrical line, that's on their cost anyways. But I can't imagine the city would take any type of increased cost for that. I can't believe removing this road is the biggest problem. This road, it's an imaginary road that was just put in recently, not that long ago. And that's the biggest hurdle, is to get rid of this Living Water Drive road. This plot we've agreed to by the purchaser and the seller. This is what we came to terms on in the purchase agreements. So this is what we want to push forward with, I guess. Like I said, we used our mulligan, so contracts expire Friday. Like I said, it's easy. If it's a yes, it's an easy. We have to extend. We're going to keep forward. We'll get this deal done. If it's a no, contracts are void. If it's a maybe, you throw us kind of in a pit of uncertainty. Especially, you know, it's like I'm trying to herd cats together at this point. It's difficult to keep everybody together for 9 months or whatever we are on working on this, negotiating this deal. So I would like to stand for any questions you may have. Otherwise, I'll get out of your hair.
As a realtor, did you have any discussions with Living Water?
The church?
Yes.
The seller's agent did talk to them, and she can speak to that after me about the church and their willingness to help us in any way we need.
Any questions?
Commissioner, he said the road was just been updated, the new road there. Do you know what year that was planned?
I have a feeling somebody will be able to answer that after me.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
I just had one question, Chair. So it's Ben, right? Ben.
Yes. Yep.
So what is the size of that access road again? Do you?
It's a standard access, 20 feet wide. It's whatever was, standard. That's our access easement.
It's kind of like an alley to get back, like
Yep.
if you wanted to have a shop back
Yep.
there or.
Well, like for me, I'm literally buying this to park my camper back there. So everybody's got an ability to get back behind their lots. We made that clear. That was concern between the neighbors getting together is, hey, especially the ones in the middle, like absolutely, you can come back through there.
Thank you.
Commissioners, my name is Tricia Dietz. I'm a real estate agent representing Val Renner in the sale of these properties. Val and I met probably about 2 years ago now through kind of a mutual understanding. However real estate agents meet their clients, it's a thing. At any rate, he had approached me about selling these lots. So we have been we brought essentially this lot to market in January of 2024. So just speaking directly to kind of, the timeline and all of this, I know that there was a question on when this road came in, and the engineer, I think, will follow me in this conversation. But this was, a relatively recent discussion at that point. And actually, now that I'm, replaying this too, we were still waiting on the final plat at the time of listing. So, in January of 2024, this plat revision to create these Living Water Drive, what I consider the Living Water Drive lots, was very, very recent at that point because we were still waiting for the final plat and the initiation of the listing agreement. So 2 years, essentially at this point now on the market. And just, when we discussed specifically about highest and best use for these properties, while I'm, I also am in real estate. I think several of us in this room are, and obviously have the best interest of the city. I have had more comments on just the feasibility of the affordability in creating, individual single-family lots for this, just based off of the cost of excavation and the cost of putting in a road, and the fact that that's only split out essentially between 8 properties with this R7 zoning in this. Speaking directly to the road, the road, Living Water Drive, was only to benefit the 8 houses potentially that were going to go in these lots. When this was before I had kind of gotten involved, but as he was, kind of moving through all of this, there was a lot of opposition from the neighbors on anything going back there, and so this was kind of the settlement point of at that point we didn't have a Ben involved, and so we couldn't get again, that was before me, but couldn't get all of the neighbors on board to come up with such a solution. But there was much opposition about anything going behind these homes, and that was kind of the settlement base, there. So at any rate, the Living Water Drive was only to benefit those 8 homes. Val's commercial lots, like I said, to the east, and actually he owns property to the north of that too. And then Living Water Drive was never going to benefit in any way from this road. From the get-go, Living Water Drive, I personally have spoken to, I'm not remembering his name at this moment, but the director of the church, the person involved with Living Water Church there. And what I was trying to do in my initial conversation with him is I was trying to see if he actually wanted to purchase what is now Lot 6, just so that we could kind of finish putting this deal together at the time. And he wasn't interested in that. We had talked quite in length actually about the road and about the process and how he was, kind of doing it to help Val get done what he needed to get done so that he could get his shop condos built. And he has no preference, yay or nay, on what happens to Living Water Drive. He just was offering it up as a way to, move this process along for Val at that moment. So, as far as, continuing to vacate that, I think that is continuing, if that is continuing to be a discussion, we had only, really kind of learned that was as much of a technicality issue as it was, here in the last couple of weeks. And so, in continued discussion with them, we definitely can continue to vacate that road. Again, it's just a timeline thing, and we have time even after we hopefully get an approval on this today. We definitely have time to continue that process as we move into closing, so that we can get all of that squared away with the final plot that would be accepted as of closing. So with that, I don't think, I of course had, some comments in your packet in front of you as well. So with that, if you have any additional questions, I am happy to answer. I don't know that I missed anything, so.
Any questions?
Chair, what's your date? What's your, you still have to go before the commission besides us. Is that still in your timeline, or how tight are you?
Contracts currently expire Friday.
But if you say yes, we're contractually obligated
To continue to move
Right.
forward.
Okay.
And that's the biggest piece. I mean, that's the biggest piece here is just, this is kind of our next big hurdle. As long as we can, continue to see progress in all of this, we have agreements on all sides there.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, just for clarification, did I understand that there is not a buyer then for Lot 6 currently?
Val continues ownership of Lot 6, and we'll have to market that separately.
So that maybe just would bring up the concern about vacating that, that right-of-way behind Lot 6, because they probably don't want to provide access off of 19th Street, being it's a major arterial.
Given the fact that it was left to be one, there was some discussion with the city. We had actually approached the city before we even had all of these contracts in place. Ben and I started this discussion, like I said, or like he said, in February. And at that point, Val and I and Greg had actually sat down with, would have been Jarek and Andrew at the city to kind of figure out, how do we make this work? How do we bring all of, we have a ready and willing, we have 5 ready and willing buyers, or 4, ready and willing buyers and a ready and willing seller. And how do we put this together, and how do we make this work, and what do we do with these last 2 lots? The biggest thing with all of this, and the part that we worked really hard to really accomplish, is making sure that there was no lots in the middle. We have all of the buyers lined up so that we have all of these, and none of these do get landlocked, because from a real estate standpoint, as representing the seller in this situation, you can understand that that is also my concern. I can't sell a lot that you can't get to. So when we brought this together, we brought, Lot 6 as one lot so that we could have that access and ability there. There was some discussion on different ways to, what's the kind of the best use for that lot, and it was continuing with R7 with that access off of 19th as a very plausibly built lot, and probably a very desired lot once I'm able to market it as such. Never mind, I had lost the train of thought there.
Any other questions? Thank you.
I have one question. Going back to the Living Water Drive, if the plat was revised to exclude that 33 feet, how's that going to impact your purchase agreements? Because if it was vacated, they'd ultimately get 33 feet from the vacation.
To my understanding, and maybe I can reference Greg, that 33 feet was always, the 33 feet that's still there was always Living Water Drives. So.
Right, but you're attempting to vacate the other 33 feet.
I might have to reference Greg on that, the engineer.
Chair and Commissioners, the idea with the plat would be to absorb that 33 feet, and that's part of the platting process to basically kind of wipe the slate clear and kind of clean up those areas. So that was the intent for that 33 feet to be part of the replat. The other 33 feet, which was on Living Water Drive, or part of the church's property originally, that could have just stayed as right away. They can continue to use it as they are, at this point. But the desire has been to go through a vacation process on that part. So
I think that's the issue, is whether or not you can legally vacate part of a public right-of-way through the plat. I know you can through the whole thing if you have both sides sign off, but we don't have that here, and we're attempting to vacate part of a right-of-way and include it within. And that's the legal issue. And my concern is if it gets approved and then it turns out to be that was an improper way to vacate that, then your whole plat is invalid. And that's going to impact your purchase agreements as well, I would think.
So,
So, and I'm trying to think of a solution where we can somehow approve this, but you come back for the final plat and perhaps amend that right away out, and then go through the process to vacate the entire right away.
So I think one of the routes we were looking at is if this can be approved in the form that it is, and with it contingent on a vacation process moving forward parallel with this, so that it can all be done simultaneously through the meetings, so that we can vacate that and then have the plat, approved right with it at that same point. So, there's probably some juggling in there a little bit, but the goal is to keep everything moving together at the same pace, same meetings, so everything gets completed at the same time. So that appears to be probably the cleanest way to keep the contracts valid, to get the vacation taken care of, and get the plat completed.
Which at this point, to add to that as well, at this point, Val Renner still owns, the proposed his portion of this, because of course this is a preliminary plat, and even the purchase agreements and everything in place, everything is kind of moving very much so in parallel with all of this. So to have title involved, to bring all of these together, Val still owns all of this portion, so it's just simply a conversation with Val and the director, the responsible party at Living Water Church. So to have those run very parallel, and all of the things we already have, Val doing and all of this it seems very seamless to continue those conversations and make sure that is all done in the fashion as desired.
Any other questions? So I don't know if we caught your name for the record. If you could state that, please.
Sorry, Chair, Commissioners, Greg Fazer, engineer for Val Renner.
Okay, thank you.
Chair Robinson, I had a question, but I don't know who would actually answer it. Is there, the vacating of the right-of-way of the drive appears to be the main hang-up right here, if it's going to be legal or not. Is there any way that that can come out of the plat, leave the right-of-way there, sell the lots that are there, and then work on vacating it later? If you follow what I'm saying, if a guy leaves that 33 feet all the way from 19th down to 16th Street, leave that right-of-way actually in place, and continue on with the sale of the lots to the homeowners that want to buy them, can you come back later and vacate that right-of-way?
I think from a technical standpoint, that would be fine. Ben, does that create some?
We would have issues with that because nobody wants the road. They're not going to continue forward.
Yep, sure. So that leaves it there, and then they all have to participate in the vacation.
Well, but if the homeowners could potentially lose the ability to purchase this property, wouldn't it be worth trying to figure out? I mean, you obviously are working together with Val on this anyway, and you're the parties that are involved. Living Water is the only one that's not here tonight, I don't believe. I'm just trying to figure out a way also to continue on with this without it turning into a nightmare. And if a guy can come back at a separate date and vacate those properties where they end up going back to the purchasers anyway, maybe you can continue on that way.
So one of the biggest fears with purchasing this is that road going in. That's one of the main reasons to purchase it, is to eliminate that option that there's going to be a road back there. So yeah, I think there's going to be some backlash for sure if we went on with the purchase and they kept that road technically there. It's kind of an unknown.
Yeah, but Val is in control of that road basically because he owns lot 6. If he decides not to do anything with that before it's vacated, you can't put a road there anyway.
I guess I can't speak to that. All I can speak about is this design here today has everybody signed off for the purchasers. That's all I can really say about that. Anything new or any changes would have to go back to all the buyers and to see if they would want to continue on. And it's been said, I think this has been trying to go on for about 10 years and much longer than I've lived here. Oh, we should have done this years ago, kind of thing. But all this discussion about basically how this land will never get developed because it's unsuitable, then I'm going to get why are we even buying this? Because they're never going to build behind us. So why do we even continue to go forward? I'm definitely going to get that answer back, especially with all the discussion and the cost analysis of how much it's going to cost and just the general unfeasibility of putting in this road for 8 houses. So there's going to be some backlash there for sure. So hopefully that answers that up.
Ben, hold on, Ben.
Yep.
So, how many times have you had to tweak this contract already? Have you had to tweak it at all?
Actually, no. It's pretty. It's kind of no. It's written very well. It's very long, but it's written very well. Okay. So no, we haven't tweaked it once. This will be the first. Depending on what happens tonight, this will be the first addendum to the contracts to extend.
And would you have? So you hadn't had to adjust any timelines at all. So this was the initial.
Yeah, we're still on the initial purchase agreements and/or addendums of the contracts.
Okay. Thanks.
Yep. Thank you.
Questions?
So I guess to the right-of-way part and trying to balance everyone's concerns and desires from the buyers, sellers, commission standpoint, I think, or I'm hoping that, an approval with the contingency that the vacation is completed with, the plat moving forward. And if that vacation stops, then the plat stops, everything is done at that point. So, but every indication is that all parties are in favor of proceeding with the vacation. So I feel that could be moved along together with it to get through this process. So I know you had asked a little bit on some of the timeline on the road. So I think to what Tricia had mentioned, the portion that Val had owned was platted in 2023, finalized in 2024 at the very beginning of the year. And then the half with Living Water Drive, I wasn't able to look that up here. I wasn't involved in that plat, but I believe that was done 2 or 3 years prior. 2012, even so, a little while longer. I was thinking more when the church was built, so a little bit later, but.
Mr. Chairman, I don't know that our city engineer is here this evening, but I don't know if anybody could speak to whether access could even be provided to Lot 6 off of 19th Street.
So yes, to kind of follow up on that discussion a little bit from what Tricia had mentioned, we had looked at actually splitting Lot 6 into 2 lots and pushing that Living Water Drive north, and we'd end up with a cul-de-sac in there. And so we have a short stretch of street to service those lots. Public Works, Engineering, they really were not interested in doing a partial street in here to try to make that work. And they felt since we're eliminating the access of Living Water Drive, having just residential access would be acceptable there on 19th.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Again, we're taking comments or questions on item number 1.
Make this quick. And my name is Mike Sullivan. I own 1616 14th Avenue Southeast, so just off of 14th and 16th, and Val and Mary were really good to work with, I gotta say that. Just 2 questions, I guess. She mentioned a fire hydrant that was going to be removed, potentially. No? Okay. Excuse me on that, and my apologies for not coming to the first meeting. prior engagement. But if everything's going to stay R7, single family, no concern there. Just this future land use map was a little bit confusing. Primary looks like it might be so potentially commercial. So just a note there. So I'll sit down.
And I'm not sure what year that the land use, do you know what year that study published that?
I believe it was 2015, and I think the changes since then, the zoning map is off too. It says it's ag, not R7, but we did find documentation that it had switched to R7. So I think it's pretty clearly residential.
Okay.
And, sorry, Chair, Commissioners, would you like me to address the fire hydrant question?
Nope, that's what I was looking for.
Chair, maybe before we get out of public hearing, I'm trying to figure out a way, and I don't know your contract, Ben, so that's where I'm at. Like, I'm trying to figure out what contingency. You wrote the contract, it's lengthy. I know how it is. I'm assuming it's a kind of a commercial contract, right? It's not our typical standard purchase agreement.
Oh, it is. It's just added with a ton of just additional provisions that ran it off into that.
Here's what I'm trying to do. Like, what can I get to make you still be contractually obligated with a contingency here to make
Vote
sure?
yes today. Move this thing forward. We'll fix whatever we need to fix in the next coming weeks with this road vacation.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, everybody wants it today. Tomorrow, everything can change.
So it's on a standard contract. Is there anything else in there that I need to know with? As long as you have something moving forward, you're still contractually obligated, is what you're saying?
Yes. Yep.
Whichever way.
If it basically comes down to your approval. So if you don't have your approval by the end date, that's it.
Right.
Then that puts us in a breach, though, I guess, instead of a if you move it forward and you have a yay vote, then yes, we're obligated to extend. No, obviously, contracts are void.
And if we put a contingency on our move forward?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay.
That's a preliminary moving forward. Yep. Then we would all have to extend. So yeah, if this was all contingent on fixing this road nonsense, not nonsense, but the other part of the road, we would still be moving forward.
Sure. Okay. Thanks.
But yet again, somebody could back out at any time. You're trying to hold like herding cats. There's always somebody that could drop out at any moment.
I totally get it. Yeah, I get it. Thanks.
So, Commissioner McLean, what would be your? I guess maybe it's just not clear for me, but what resistance do you have for approval?
I think I'm the legal part bothers me a little bit, making sure we vacate that road properly. So we have to have some sort of contingency in there for that. I just don't know what that looks like yet.
And I would think as a buyer, with that hanging in the air, you'd think you'd be concerned with that also. It
can be done right.
Yeah.
I just need to do it
Yes.
And this has probably already been addressed. I'm Del Nardello. I live on one of the blocks. I did not buy a lot. But my concern is these lots that they're buying, is there going to have to be a gravel access road back there that I'm going to be assessed for, specialist? That's my concern.
No, not the way they have it set right now.
Okay. Okay. And that's what I wanted to address. Thank you.
Anyone else on item number 1? I'll make one last call. With none, I'll close the public hearing, return it to the commission.
Mr. Chairman, I still have, I think there is a legal issue with the way we're vacating the plat, but I think that can be corrected. And I guess if that's all I'm going to say, but I'll do a motion unless there's any other comments.
Love to hear what you're. Go ahead.
Okay.
We're all jumping in, but okay, fine.
Yeah.
All right. I'll move to recommend approval of the preliminary plat for the Evergreen 5th Edition, contingent on final plat approvals, which also establish the complete vacation of Living Water Drive.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion by Commissioner Smith, second by Commissioner Mutter, Renner. Motion is to recommend approval of the preliminary plat for the Evergreen 5th Edition contingent on final plat approvals, and which also includes the establishment of complete vacation of Living Water Drive.
Mr. Chair, Rachel, are you good with that? I feel bad for Rachel. This is like getting dumped into this one.
Chair, Commissioners, I think that that probably accomplishes it. It allows them the ability to move forward with this current plat while requiring that we do adequately take care of the Living Water Drive issue, whether that's that they remove that 33 feet in the final plat or they go through the vacation process simultaneously and don't come in with the final plat until they are at the end of the vacation process. So I think it could work. There's going to be some small changes to the plat either way, but I think it could work. It's broad.
Timeline wise, like they're going to want to know something. So because of the contract. When's the next city commission meeting? When would this go in front of the city? Second.
The second meeting in September for the final plat. And the vacation process requires 4 weeks, I believe, 30 days or 4 weeks of advertisement. I apologize. I can't do that math off the top of my head.
No, I get.
But I'm guessing that by the time they get back to,
seconds.
I mean, it would have to be done by final plat, right? So the earliest they could get back onto the Planning and Zoning Commission agenda for final plat would be September, end of September, which theoretically they could be halfway through the vacation advertisement process by that point.
Okay.
Or all the way through it, depending on when we start that process and when they apply for it, I guess, right? Unless it goes to Planning Commission in September. I'm sorry, I didn't have that.
No,
prepped,
and
so.
I just want a little bit of discussion on timelines because I'm guessing they're going to want to know that anyway. So, yes. Okay.
Yeah, my guess would be 6 weeks to 2 months.
Okay.
But that's about what it would take anyway to get through final plat. So.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments or questions? We have a motion and a second. Do I need to repeat or clarify the motion? Motion is to recommend approval of the preliminary plat for the Evergreen 5th Edition, contingent on final plat approvals, and also establish complete vacation of Living Water Drive. No, that's fine. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Huber,
Yes.
Commissioner Mutter,
Yes.
Mayor Freilich,
Yes.
Commissioner Infeld,
Yes.
Commissioner McLean,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Hammond,
Yes.
Commissioner Gardner,
Yes.
Commissioner Renner,
Yes.
Chair Robinson.
Yes. Motion is passed. Second public hearing, consider a preliminary plat for title South Hart Terrace 5th Edition and a zone change from R7 to R32 and R7. Rachel?
Someone tell us here. Okay, I am going to start this by saying we're going to request tabling this with the applicant's full, what's the word? coordination, cooperation on this one. So I can talk about it if you'd like me to, but essentially this plat, I'll show you the map, is directly to the, get down to the map that I'm looking for, directly to the west of the Clover Grove PUD that was approved like a couple months ago. I can't remember if that was last month or not. And we have, as city staff, requested that the two properties work in coordination with one another to provide secondary access to both properties, as neither property would be able to develop the final phases without that secondary access across the boundary line. And so they are working on that. And so we are going to request that this be tabled to next month when Clover Grove did turn in their preliminary plat on Friday. And so hopefully we'll come back to you with both of them at the same time. We can review everything all at once. That's the goal. So I do believe this was advertised for a public hearing, though. So just a heads up on that one, that you may need to hold that still. And I can answer any questions. I can go through the whole thing if you'd like me to. It's up to you.
Questions for Rachel? Thank you. It is a public hearing, so with that, I'll open it up. Any questions or comments on public hearing number 2?
Good evening, Commissioner, Chairman and Commissioners. A. Ballmer with Independent Land Surveying and Engineering. We've had multiple meetings with the city staff on this project, and I come to enough meetings where I know enough about Clover Grove as well. Clover Grove, to do their secondary or second phase of their project, does need a secondary access. For this first phase, what we're proposing right now, we would not need a secondary access, but for a future phase, for another 80 acres to the southwest that my client does own, a secondary access, another secondary access would be required. So that was brought to our attention here in the last couple of weeks with city staff meetings. And I have some concepts, but we're kind of trying to figure those out, where the right location for the road is. Obviously, we would add some lots going down that hill to the east, that sort of thing. I mean, I can show you a concept if you want to see something tonight. I have no problem showing that. Right now, just know that it's a concept. It's not part of the preliminary plat, since we're requesting to table it to figure this out for the next couple of weeks so we can get something figured out for the next month's meeting.
I guess to look at a concept that could change by next meeting. I don't know if anybody wants to see something like that. It just kind of muddies the water.
Okay. And if you have any questions, we've done this Keitel's edition a couple times over the years. I've been part of that for many years. Last time was 2-3 years down the road, or 2-3 years ago. We did look at platting most of this to the south and then phasing it. It's very similar to that plat. We're reducing the R3.2 on the west. That was originally proposed to go further south. It is all, the rest is all R7, single family. So it's following that concept. The original concept that we have in front of you tonight has a cul-de-sac on the east. That cul-de-sac would be no longer a cul-de-sac. We would look to try to snake a road down that hill to connect to a future road between us and Clover Grove. So.
Any questions? Thank you.
Okay.
Do we have any other comments, questions on public hearing number 2? Again, last call for item number 2. With none, I'll close. Return it to the commission.
Can you move the table for you, Chair Robinson?
I'll second.
Motion is to table the preliminary plat and zone change request until September. Based on conversations with the applicant and neighboring property, in order for both applicants to turn in complementary preliminary plats to address cross-connection concerns between the two properties. Motion was made by Commissioner McLean, second by Commissioner Infeld. Any questions? Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Huber,
Yes.
Commissioner Mutter,
Yes.
Mayor Freilich, Commissioner Infeld,
Yes.
Commissioner McLean,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Hammond,
Yes.
Commissioner Gardner,
Yes.
Commissioner Renner,
Yes?
Chair Robinson.
Yes. Motion is passed. Any other business? With no other business on the agenda, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. We are adjourned. Thank you.